All right, so today we're going to dive into a really fascinating and honestly a pretty provocative way to think about high-stakes exams. We're looking at an analysis of Kenya's KASNEB exam, but the ideas here apply to pretty much any big test. The core argument? For most students, the problem isn't what they know, it's that they're failing at strategy. So let's get right into it.
So the source we're looking at kicks things off with this statement. Wow, it's incredibly blunt and it's designed to get your attention right away. But it's not just for shock value. Think of it as a wake-up call, a signal that you might need to play this game completely differently.
And here's the number that backs up that statement. 65%. That's the failure rate the source points to. But here's the kicker, and this is crucial. The argument is that this isn't random. It's not just bad luck, it's engineered. The test is actually designed in a way that trips people up if they don't have the right game plan.
And this right here, this is the heart of the entire idea. So many students spend months, even years, cramming content, trying to memorize every little detail. But what this source suggests is that they're totally focused on the wrong problem. The real battle isn't about knowledge, it's about game theory on exam day.
Okay, so let's dig into that. What is the real test? Well, it's this battle between knowledge and pressure.
This slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, that's where most of us live, right? We're focused on content, on knowing the material inside and out, on trying to get every single answer perfect. But the real test, on the right, that's a different beast entirely. It's about thinking clearly when the clock is ticking, applying what you know with speed and confidence, and, this is a big one, allocating risk. Because knowing everything is completely useless if you crumble under the pressure.
So what does this failure look like in the real world? Well, the source points to these classic examples. It's not about not knowing an answer. It's about panicking and changing a correct answer to a wrong one. It's not that the exam was too hard. It's that you ran out of time and left a huge number of marks on the table. These aren't knowledge failures. They are, plain and simple, failures of your process.
So if strategy is the problem, what's the solution? This is where the source introduces a solution, a really clear three-part framework to basically reprogram your brain for exam day.
And here they are. Simple, right? Speed, confidence, and risk allocation. According to this framework, these are the only three things that really matter once you're in that exam hall. So let's break down what each of these actually means.
Okay, first up, speed. And this is so important. It is not about rushing. It's not about being frantic and careless. It's about being efficient because you trust your method. The source says failing students waste so much time recalculating the same problem over and over because of self-doubt. Speed is about having the discipline to do it once, trust your work, and move on. The second pillar is confidence, and notice how it's defined here, as a discipline. It's not some vague feeling. The source makes this incredible point. Failing students tend to change their answers 3, 4, even more times. Passing students, they change an answer maybe once, or not at all. It's not that they're smarter, it's that they have trained themselves to commit to a decision and keep moving forward.
And finally, we have risk allocation. This is where it gets really tactical. The argument is that not all marks on the exam are created equal. Some questions are designed to be traps. They eat up a ton of your time for very few points. A strategic test taker knows how to spot these traps and prioritize the questions that give the biggest bang for their buck, or, the most marks per minute.
And this chart just shows you the math. It's insane. According to the source's example, you could spend a minute on a low-value trap question and get only 0.2 marks for your effort. Or you could spend that same minute on a high-value question and get 1.6 marks. That is an 800% better return on your time. The game is to hunt for those high-value targets first.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually develop these skills? Well, the source proposes a pretty intense 72-hour protocol to put this framework into action and get you ready.
So here's how it breaks down. Day 1 is all about speed drills, just solving problems fast to break that addiction to perfectionism. Day 2 is for what they call confidence interviews, where you actually have to practice committing to your answers under pressure. And Day 3 is the big one, a full risk simulation. A mock exam where your only goal is to practice your strategy of spotting traps and hunting for those high-value questions.
And this really sums up the whole philosophy. We all know that trying to cram new facts into your head in the last 72 hours before an exam is a terrible idea. But the source argues it's the perfect amount of time to retrain your mental approach. It's not about what you know, it's about sharpening how you think and perform.
So let's wrap this all up. What is the big takeaway here?
It really all boils down to this fundamental shift in perspective. It's not what you know, it's how you think.
I think this final quote from the source says it all. The whole strategy hangs on this one idea. Success isn't about being born with a higher IQ. It's about a disciplined, conscious choice to commit. To commit to your method, to commit to your answers, and to commit to your time management strategy.
And that brings us to the final question we want to leave you with. As you think about your own studies, your own exams, or any high-pressure situation, ask yourself, is your problem really what you know, or is it how you're playing the game? That shift in focus just might be the key.